You've done it before, maybe dozens of times. You look at the screen. The menu is right there, and without thinking, almost instinctively, you click it. New game. Everything disappears. The hours, the progress, the world you built, piece by piece, decision by decision. All of it, gone. And here's the strange thing. It doesn't feel like loss. It feels like freedom. That moment, that quiet exhale before the loading screen is worth understanding. Because it's telling you something about yourself that nothing else in modern life ever will. That's what we're exploring today. Most people assume that pressing new game is an act of giving up. It isn't. It's an act of clarity. There's a version of you that has been sitting with a save file for weeks or months and has slowly understood something. This isn't the story you want to be telling. The settlement went in the wrong direction. The base is in the wrong valley. The choices that made sense at the beginning don't feel like yours anymore. And instead of forcing your way through a world that no longer fits, you stop. You look at it honestly, and you begin again. That decision, quiet, private, almost invisible, is one of the most psychologically sophisticated things a person can do. Because it requires two things that most of us were never taught: the honesty to admit when something isn't working, and the courage to release it anyway. In real life, we almost never do this. We stay in the job that stopped making sense 3 years ago. We hold on to habits, to patterns, to versions of ourselves that we've quietly outgrown. We tell ourselves that letting go is failure, that starting over means wasting everything that came before. But here's the thing, you've clicked new game before, and you know that isn't true. Think about the last time you started a game completely over. Not because something went wrong, not because you lost, but because you saw, clearly without drama, that the foundation wasn't right. And you decided, I know better now. I want to build something that actually reflects what I understand. That is not weakness. That is one of the most important skills a human being can have. Psychologists call it cognitive flexibility, the ability to hold a plan, notice when it isn't working, and revise it without catastrophizing. It's the thing that separates people who grow from people who stay stuck. And research consistently shows that it's one of the strongest predictors of well-being across a lifetime. Games train you in this so naturally that you don't even notice. Every time you restart, you aren't starting from zero. You're starting from experience. Everything you learned in that first run, what works, what doesn't, where the real problems live, comes with you into the new one. The map resets. The knowledge doesn't. And that's a truth worth sitting with. Because after 40, you have more of that knowledge than you've ever had. More hard-won understanding of how things actually work. Not how they're supposed to. Not how you assumed they would, but how they genuinely behave when tested by real conditions and real time. The instinct to press new game doesn't get weaker as you get older. It gets more precise. You know faster now what fits and what doesn't. You feel sooner when a direction has run its course, and when you decide to start again, in a game or anywhere else, you do it with a confidence that your younger self could never have had. Because you know exactly what you're bringing with you. But here's the strange thing. The hardest part of starting over has never been the restart itself. It's the moment just before it. There's a name for what keeps you from pressing new game. even when you know you should. It's called the sunk cost, the hours already spent, the progress already made, the story you've been telling yourself about, why you've stayed this long. The sunk cost whispers that leaving means losing, that all of it will have been for nothing. But you've played enough games to know that this isn't how it actually works. The hours you spent in that first run weren't wasted. They were the price of understanding. You paid in time, and in return you received something far more useful than progress. You received clarity. You now know things about this world, about what you want from it, about what it's capable of, that you couldn't have known at the beginning. And that clarity travels with you into whatever comes next. Think about the last time you started over in a game and found within the first hour that you were already building better, moving faster, making decisions in minutes that once took you days. The map was new, but you weren't. That's not nothing. That's everything. Now here's where it gets really interesting. What if we treated real life the same way? What if a career change after 40 wasn't a retreat, but a second run, played by someone with a decade more experience and a far clearer sense of what actually matters? What if the relationship you're reconsidering, the habit you're releasing, the version of yourself you're quietly stepping away from? What if those weren't failures? What if they were exactly the first run you needed, so that the next one could be built right? In games, we understand this instinctively. The restart isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of the one you actually want to tell. If this is landing somewhere, if the idea of a second run feels familiar, subscribe to the channel. We take these things seriously here, and we take our time with them. There's a specific feeling that comes in the first few minutes of a new game, before the obligations arrive, before the resource problems and the planning and the weight of a half-built world. Just you, a blank map, and the quiet understanding that anything is still possible. Psychologists call this the fresh start effect. Research shows that new beginnings, even symbolic ones, activate a genuine psychological shift. We let go of the past self. We step into a version of ourselves that hasn't made the old mistakes yet, that hasn't locked in the old compromises yet. And for a moment, everything is open. Games give you this feeling on demand, and after 40, that feeling becomes something different than it was at 20. It becomes less about excitement and more about intentionality, less about the thrill of the unknown and more about the quiet satisfaction of choosing well, of knowing this time which valley to build in, which resource to prioritize, which direction is actually yours. The blank slate doesn't make you naive, it makes you free. And that's fine, because freedom, at this stage of life, looks different than it did before. It isn't the wide open chaos of youth, full of possibility precisely because nothing has been decided yet. It's something quieter and more profound. The freedom of a person who knows what they value and is choosing deliberately to build toward it. The new game isn't a retreat from experience. It is experience, deciding to begin again. So what does it mean, really, to press new game? It means you're paying attention. It means you've been honest enough with yourself to notice when a direction has stopped being yours. Brave enough to release what you've built. And wise enough, and here's the part that only comes with time, to understand that everything you learned in the first run is already packed and ready for the next one. You don't start over from nothing. You never have. You start over from everything you now know, from every mistake that taught you something real, from every hour that seemed wasted at the time and turned out to be preparation. Look at any world you've ever restarted. Really look at it. The second version was always better. Not because the map changed, because you did. And that's what games understand, quietly, without making a speech about it, that the rest of the world rarely does. Starting over is not the opposite of progress. It is progress, the most honest kind there is. Every restart is a shortcut disguised as a setback. The menu is right there, and maybe somewhere beyond the screen, in a part of your life that doesn't have a restart button, you already know what you'd build differently. That knowledge is yours. Take your time with it. See you in the next one.